Coming to you with my best pal, Jameson. It's One Wellness Nerd Out time! Let's go, baby! J-Mo's excited, aka Jameson. I'm excited, and you should be excited too, folks, because today we're talking about another fantastic supplement. Johnny, what's up, my man? If you guys saw When Wellness Tomorrow, you saw John Armenio on there. He's an absolute beast in a physical sense and in a emotional, mental, energy sense as well. We'll talk about him a lot on his birthday, but as for now, we got no other birthdays to address today, so we're going to talk about estrogen. All right, so what is estrogen? So let's break the name down as we always do here at One Wellness, and let's go kind of a prefix suffix form of that, and let's go with the astra part first. Okay, so what is astra referring to? Well, it's referring to astragalus. Okay, I'm sure you've heard of astragalus, and we're going to talk about it in a second. But first, let's say what the gin refers to in estrogen, that suffix portion, and it's Panax notoginseng, aka Panax ginseng, aka ginseng, or ginseng root, things like that. Now, both astragalus and ginseng are plants that have been used in traditional Chinese medicine for centuries. Okay, now when we talk about the medicinal benefits and the purpose for which they have been used for so long, they both have a few things in common, but they both have a lot of their own benefits attributed, right, that we will go through. Now, as for both of them, they're both antioxidant, and anti-inflammatory properties. Okay, and let's start with astragalus, right, our prefix here. So with astragalus, it's been shown to lower blood pressure. It's been shown to help treat diabetes, very interestingly, right? And it's been shown to boost immune function, so benefiting your immune system. So right now is a great time to have it, baby, because there's a lot of stuff going around, right? As we all know too well, right? On top of that, obviously, antioxidant, anti-inflammatory properties, right? Like we said, they both have. When we talk about ginseng or Panax notoginseng, right, or Panax ginseng, ginseng in traditional Chinese medicine has been used majorly for pain relief and to reduce swelling. So maybe some implications there for acute injury, right? Natural remedies for, treating an acute injury that has just happened and is all swollen and painful and things like that. And even a chronic injury that you're just still suffering, pain from, right? So those are two great benefits, obviously, with antioxidant, anti-inflammatory properties. So what happens when we combine both? Well, when we combine both, we get estrogen, as we have said before, and estrogen is an absolutely fantastic thing for your gut, So obviously it's anti-inflammatory, as the two constituents of it are both anti-inflammatory. It has some antioxidant properties too, obviously. But when we talk about the gut, estrogen has been shown to aid in the healing of ulcers in the intestinal lining and to promote healing of damaged intestines in general, right? So it can help heal your gut lining, right? And on top of that, and being anti-inflammatory, it also has been shown to benefit your gut microbiome, so helping you to digest other things, right? And promoting nutrient absorption, which brings us to our next fantastic benefit of estrogen. What are you eating? Stop eating stuff. And dogs, he eats everything. Dude's always starving, just like me, But when we talk about another benefit of estrogen, well, very, very interestingly, folks, estrogen drastically, and I mean drastically, increases the absorption of other nutrients when they are taken in concert. Very, very cool. At least I think so. And so you could see how, supplementing estrogen into your daily nootropic stack, or, your energy stack, or whatever type of supplements you take, whether they be, plant compounds, or vitamins, minerals, or, amino acids, right? it promotes the absorption of other nutrients to a drastic degree, okay? And a few examples we could spit out there are BCAAs, right? So branched chain amino acids, our leucine, our isoleucine, and our valine, right? Like we've said before so many times at Wind Wellness. And if you take them, what's the ratio? It's 2 to 1 to 1, leucine to isoleucine to valine. It could even be 3 to 1 to 1. Leucine is the biggest player there, all right? So if you weigh your supplements out yourself with the scale, that's the ratio you should be using, okay? And if you buy a supplement, that's the ratio that should be in it. But not to get too off topic here, it would, if taken with the BCAAs, promote the absorption of those BCAAs into your skeletal muscle, all right? Get those biceps big and strong, improving bioavailability of other substances, of other nutrients, vitamins, amino acids in general. What a fantastic, fantastic addition to a supplement stack once again then, right? On top of that, other amino acids like tryptophan, right? Or L-tryptophan, right? Or L just refers to the configuration. The hydroxyl group is to the left, and whatever number carbon, it doesn't matter. Just tryptophan, L-tryptophan, synonymous pretty much, right? And something like 5-HTP or 5-hydroxytryptophan, since we're talking about tryptophan. And tryptophan is converted, fun fact, into 5-HTP, 5-hydroxytryptophan, which is a precursor for serotonin, baby, making y'all happy, right? So those are some great supplements in themselves. But if taken with estrogen, you will better absorb them, meaning indirectly it will promote the production of more serotonin. When we talk about BCAAs, more muscle growth, right? That muscle protein synthesis that we get from our leucine, isoleucine, and valine. So, it doesn't just go for those types of things, right? B vitamins, all sorts of things, right? Vitamins in general, right? Promoting the absorption is estrogen. So it's again, a fantastic addition to the stack. Now, this is really big because, well, first I do want to say this. I want to say this because I meant to mention this. So we said estrogen is good for your gut health. We said anti-inflammatory, right? Helps to repair damaged gut lining, including things like ulcers, right? Feeds your gut microbiome. So when we talk about that anti-inflammatory effect, when we talk about, improving your gut health in general and repairing it, well, at least helping to do so, right? I'm not saying it'll totally fix your problems, but there may be some implications here for people with inflammatory bowel disease, things like Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis, right? So if you suffer from inflammatory bowel disease, maybe estrogen or even astragalus in itself and ginseng separate, combined and put into a supplement would be a fantastic thing to add to your morning routine in what you're taking to get your day going, right? So just a little food for thought there. We always like to say, some implications for associated pathologies, right? Or at least potential implications. Now, in terms of dosage, that's what I was going to say. So promoting the absorption in terms of dosage, you don't need much of it. You can combine it with like a 20-gram stack, and you could only put 50 milligrams, and it should be enough to about do its job, right? Now, that dosage doesn't serve as equivalent to if you were taking ginseng alone or astragalus alone, right? I would have to look into those a little bit more, but I'm pretty sure they're in the 200 to 300 milligram range, probably each, as most adaptogens pretty much are. Adaptogens are something that they're plant compounds that help your body better deal with stress, okay? They serve a prophylactic, a preventative purpose, right, for preparing your body to deal with stress in the future, right? And another example is rhodiola rosea root of an adaptogen, right? We talked about ginseng, Mucuna pruriens, ginkgo biloba, Bacopa monnieri, and they're all also, almost all of them at least, also serve as nootropics, so they enhance your cognitive functioning, and astragalus and ginseng are no different, right? So they can also boost cognitive functioning. But the main functions are the aforementioned, so that's where I wanted to focus today, right? Now when we talk about improving the absorption. I mean, that can be so big. It can be much bigger with certain supplements than others. And let's take that example we used this past week with resveratrol, and it's got so many great benefits, but it only has 20% bioavailability, right? Whereas we said pterostilbene has 80% bioavailability. So, what would be more important to have it with? It would be good to have it with both, but of course, you would see even more benefits if you were to take it with resveratrol, and that also means you could drop the dosage of resveratrol because you would improve its bioavailability by adding in a little bit of estrogen. And so your body, what's bioavailability, guys? We've said this, right? Because we don't use big words and not explain it here at When Wellness. Bioavailability of a substance, of a supplement, of a compound is just defined as how much you will get absorbed into the relevant tissues, right? How much will get into your circulation and how much will actually be absorbed to have its effect before being degraded. And certain things have a much lower bioavailability than others. And we just used the example of resveratrol, right? And those supplements would be greatly, greatly enhanced by adding estrogen along with them, right? So what's another example of something with lower bioavailability that we've talked about? It's arginine, man, arginine, L-arginine. So, if you're familiar with citrulline, arginine, and nitric oxide, well, those are the three players in that pathway. It goes citrulline being converted into arginine, being converted into nitric oxide, which gives you that vasodilation, that opening of the blood vessels, that improved blood flow and delivering of oxygen and nutrients to your body and to your mind, right? And so it can improve exercise performance and things like that, and yada, 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 right? It's a nootropic in that sense, more cerebral blood flow. But the reason I mention it is because citrulline has a lower first pass effect, right? And what's the first pass effect, aka first pass metabolism? Well, that means, I guess a way of thinking of it is when it first passes through your blood into your body, right? And we're just saying in people terms, it's a technical definition. Less of it is degraded, right? If it has a lower first pass metabolism, aka effect, than arginine, then less will be degraded before it reaches the tissues. And that's a good thing, right? That means it's pretty much equivalent to saying it has higher bioavailability, right? So that's why it's good to have a lot of citrulline and less arginine in a supplement, or just all citrulline, right? Usually in the form of citrulline malate if we're trying to improve exercise performance. 6 to 8 grams, if you're interested in that, have been shown in specific to improve exercise performance. So you could see how if you were going to have arginine, now, it's not just a bioavailability issue with arginine. It's also, the problem is arginine promotes the production of arginase, okay? And that anything ACE is breaking down. It's an enzyme that's breaking down the prefix. So arginase, right, would be an enzyme breaking down arginine, right? So, that's no bueno. So if you had a ton of arginine, yeah, you're getting nitric oxide production because it's the next step in the pathway, but you're also producing a lot of the enzyme that's going to break down the arginine. So it's a little counterintuitive, right? But having said that, still other ones where you're not as concerned with, the production of enzymes that are breaking them down, and it's just a bioavailability issue, like something like resveratrol, or the effect that piperine has on curcumin, right? The potent active compound in turmeric. Piperine is a black pepper. Makes sense, piperine. Piperine promotes much, much greater absorption of turmeric than if turmeric were taken alone, right? So you can absorb more of that curcumin, right? So another example, and if you took estrogen along with both of them, even better, baby. You'll absorb even more of it. So thank you very much. Fantastic discussion today. Quick, sweet. At least I thought it was quick. I got excited. I talked a little longer than I wanted to. But who do we got here? Johnny. Love you, man. Danny Kip. I love you, too. Ellery Parker and M. Leibs. What's up, Em? How you doing? I hope you're doing great in practice and everything. I hope you're having a great time every day, treating patients and improving their lives, and I hope you're very successful in that sense of attaining the internal happiness from it more than anything, right? So thank you guys so much. Have a fantastic rest of your night, and we'll see you tomorrow, baby. Happy Wellness. Thank you.